red treats on your table. As we had talked about on a president and managing director call and having a brainstorming around how to get people to register for your events earlier so you understand what your numbers are closer to an event. Kathy Stapleton with the New York chapter had said what we found, instead of doing early bird pricing or doing a discount, is to offer something like the first 50 people receive ... So me being in sales said, all right, the first 50 people to register for leadership conference, I'll bring some Minnesota treats. But you're all here and you all registered, so those are salted nut rolls on your tables there for you. Yep, I think Central Florida's already ate their whole table. So just wanted you to know what those treats were about. So this next topic is very near and dear to my heart. And it's something that probably keeps me up at night the most, is board succession planning. I always say you are only good as your current board and the next one that you have in place. As we've learned throughout the last day, we love our chapters, and it is a nervous feeling making sure that we're filling those positions and keeping the succession plan going. So today, we get to welcome back Peggy Hoffman. Hasn't she been wonderful for us already? So I'm, with no further ado, the mother of dragons, Miss Peggy Hoffman.
I hope you've enjoyed the day so far, because the entertainment portion is over and the work begins. Matt goes, yeah, I have to leave. I just got a text. So now we're going to actually work, because at the end of the day, we need you to have some serious takeaways that are actionable. And in fact, at the end of this day, right before the end of the day, we're going to actually put you in some campfire rounds, and you're going to get a chance to take some of this information we're about to talk about and apply it, at least define some absolute actionable items. I'm going to start with a couple of polls. So if you don't have your phone out, please feel free to get it out now. I'm going to start with a couple of polls, and this is not fair, but for some of you, but for the rest of you, I think it's pretty legitimately fair. So how many of you were in one of the sessions that we did last year in Chicago, Phoenix, and DC? Okay, awesome. So then these questions are going to be super easy for all of you. No worries. If you weren't in those, find somebody at the table who was and see if you can get the answer. The first poll is, why do you volunteer? This one's the easy one. I'm warming you up with something easy. Why do you volunteer? First thing you're going to need to do is go to 22333, sign back into my poll, Peggy Hoffman, no spaces between those names. And then you're going to give me an A, B, C, D, or E. It's going to be to help others, to give back to the profession, gain new perspectives. And you can interpret these any way that you want to. These are not hard and fast. Explore my strengths or business development. And by the way, there is absolutely nothing wrong with E. So if that is really why you are here as a volunteer, be honest and own it. Because as we're talking about succession planning, if I want to get somebody in the right position so that they will in fact be an engaged volunteer for me, I have to know honestly why you come to the table. And that's one of the reasons why I put that one up there. So be honest in this. And by the way, you only have to be honest to yourself, because I don't know, unless I look in the back, who said what. All right, so I love it. 54% said give back, do something for the profession, and then the rest of them are scattered back and around again. You don't have to answer this right now, but in your own mind, go ahead and ask yourself the question, when I first volunteered, the first time I said yes, was that answer the same, or was there a different answer? When I first said yes, was that answer the same or a different? And while you're thinking like,
Answer again?
No. Don't muck up my poll by answering a second time now. Come on. Jeez Louise. All right. Meanwhile, how many of your members volunteer? How many of your members volunteer? Would you say that 50% or more of your members are volunteering? About a third, about a quarter, 10% or fewer, and I'm not sure. Now, I want you to be honest, because if you really don't know, I want you to put not sure. It's not a problem to not know, but by the end of this particular session, we hope we're going to give you some ways to know. So what do we got? All right, coming in pretty much as expected. While you're doing that, is there anybody in the room who was at one of those other sessions who remembers the same question? Did you change your answer this time? Anybody have a different answer this time? The last time they did this poll with me? Don't remember? You don't remember me? You don't remember the poll? You remember your answer? It's all good. All right. All right, now the question's going to get tough. What is the top driver for association volunteering? If you were in my session, you've got this one hands down. If you weren't in my session, guess. What is the top driver for association volunteering? To explore one's strengths, to gain new perspectives, feel compassion for others, important to help others, important to do something for a profession or a cause that's important to me. Pretty cool. Keep coming. The clear winner is do something for the profession or cause important to me. Awesome. So I asked this question, and those answers come from the actual survey question done in 2008 and repeated in 2016, in which we went out to people who were members of associations and who volunteered. And we asked them to rank their top 5 and do something for a profession or cause important to me was the number 1, followed by it's important to help others. It was interesting because if you look at E, D, and C, those are all elements that I call largely outward facing. The other 2, A and B, are more inward facing. What's interesting about this, when we did that survey, for those of you in the room might have remembered this, we talked about the fact that actually one of the most interesting nuances about volunteering in a nonprofit membership-based organization versus any other community service nonprofit or any other community-based program is that beautiful blend of both. In other words, if you want me to volunteer for the organization, I've got to have a little bit for me, and I got to have something that's outward facing. And in fact, if I don't have outward facing, I'm probably not going to be a good volunteer for you because I'm not going to hang around because there's not enough reason to get me and to keep me. If I don't have something for me, I'm also not going to volunteer. So as you are thinking about succession planning, it's important for you to understand that people come for blended reasons, and if we can hit the hot buttons on both sides of it, we can actually pull somebody from that really nice, simple job up to being your replacement so that while you love the Broadmoor, you won't have to come to another president's meeting. All right. What is the top reason for not volunteering? What is the top reason for not volunteering? Lack of information about opportunities, lack of information about short-term, virtual volunteering lack, never ask, conflict with volunteering. So this is the no. You got a no, or you got someone who just didn't, just didn't even ask. So interestingly enough, it is true, never asked is one of the top reasons. But when we did that survey, the very top reason was lack of information about volunteer opportunities. And that's because we pretty much keep volunteering a best kept secret. I've been on a number of your websites, and many of you are doing a great job of keeping it a best kept secret. So part of what we have to do if you want to do succession planning is you got to not let it be so much of a secret. You got to say to folks, come on, we want you to know that we want you to be engaged and involved. Essentially, nobody picked lack of information about short-term assignments, but we're going to come back to that in just a moment. What is the preferred way to volunteer? So the question is, think about this. If you asked all the people in your chapter, how would they prefer to volunteer? the top way that they would say they wanted to volunteer. Would it be a leadership position on a board or a committee chair? Would it be a member of a committee, a group, a task force? Would it be tasks and activities? I got some super smart people in the room. Yeah, so I was going to say 56% of you, but that number went down, 53% of you. Wow. Well, 53% of you are right. As a matter of fact, what the research showed here is that about 60% of the folks that are willing to do something in an association say they want to do it in a short-term activity. Now that could be a micro, as in I want to be a greeter at an event, or I want to do a single blog post, or I want to take pictures at an event. It could be what we call a more involved one, but basically what they're saying is, I really don't want to be tied down. And it's not that they don't want to be, so let's understand this. This is not selfishness, it's that many of them feel they can't be timed out because they won't be able to deliver on the commitment, right? So I bring this up because you guys, how many people remember me saying this? You guys in the room are the what? I must not have been a very good trainer. You know what? Don't pay me for this. Don't pay me for this because the people that raise their hand don't remember anything I said. You are the 17%ers. You're the top. You're the cream of the crop. You will give and give and give. How many of you are on the board for the very first time? And the rest of you? Yeah. You've given a couple of times before, and you're probably going to give some more. Am I right? That's what a 17%er is. It's what we call the shapers because you really want to be involved and engaged in making your chapter awesome. And 23% of you are going to give a pretty decent lift. But guys, you are different. So I got to get you to take that hat off and just say for a moment, I am different and that's okay, but let me meet people where they are. Now let me ask this question. How many of you, your first volunteer job at your chapter was something other than, and I know this is kind of a trick question because some of you were voluntold and put right on the board when somebody noticed we put a mirror underneath your nose and you'd be like, hey, Matt, you were on the board. But for quite a few of you, did you not come in through the micro or ad hoc or a smaller job? You showed up and you helped out in an event? For some of you, yeah, well, the beautiful thing about us really pushing out that 60% is because that is where succession planning begins. All right, last poll for you. Honesty, be honest. What best describes your succession plan? Catch as catch can, a little begging, a little pleading, a little, oh, please, you are breathing, you can do this. Maybe it's on paper, guys. In fact, I can tell you how somebody comes a chair and then they get on the board and then they do this position and then they do this position and then they become president-elect and then they're president and then they're immediate past president. I got that down, Peggy. It's on paper. Or it's fully functioning and we have the people to prove it. Pretty cool. So I'm not going to put the 16%, 15%ers, the C folks on the spot. But as I'm talking, I would love you to jump into the conversation with your own personal stories. Because if that is happening, if you're fully functioning, you've got the people, it means you've probably unlocked some really important clues. And we need to hear it from your point of view. Deal? Yeah. Deal. Yes? Yeah, what?
So when someone joins the board, we at that point start explaining to them that ultimately you're going to become president.
I'm keeping a completely straight face, but I truly love the fact that you guys let it go. Yeah. That's that? Right. Exactly. I want to change that. I want to change that. there's a couple problems with that, is that sometimes, like, let's say for example Matt, now I'm picking on him because he's right here, but maybe you tell Matt you're going to be president, and it turns out Matt is, like, sucks. Okay? But here's the worst part. Jenny, what did you say about the success chapters? You said they were as good as their
Next four.
right.
Or your current board and your next board.
And if Matt sucks, okay, so it is. But I would love us to create a succession plan that is a little bit more of a sure deal. With me? Stay with me, guys. All right. Succession planning, there's 5 elements. If you can put this to play in your chapter, you will more times than not, it's not a perfect world, but more times than not, you will have the talent that you need in the leadership role of your organization. So let's take each one of these little by little. Some of them we can speed by. A couple of them we're going to take a little bit deeper. The first one, though, does come with a little bit of a job for you guys. Talking about identifying the organizational goals. Now, why would I start with this as the first one? It's because too often when we're doing succession planning, we're starting with the empty chair. We're not focused on anything else. We're focused on this chair is empty and I need it filled. And I bless you, I want you to roll it back at the beginning of your year. Nay, 6 months into your years, you're looking forward ahead. And I want you to say, what is it we got to get done? And how will we know it got done? Because if you know the body of work, now you can begin to identify who you need in order to help it, right? So you start with what is the task at hand, okay? How many of you have been or are in HR? As part of your function? No one. Okay, so you know that that's the place to start. I don't start by going out with a job description. I don't start by going, hey, I got a job. You say, what do we got to get done? And then we begin to identify the chairs or the seats, the tasks that we need, right? So I'd like you to, just for a few moments at your table, and I know you're sitting with maybe not all of you in the same chapter, you have a couple of chapters, that's okay. Have a quick conversation. If you were sitting here on day one, you're sitting with the board and you're saying, we're going to put together a succession plan that takes us places, and we're going to start by answering this question, what do we need to get done and how will we know it is done? What would that list look like? So just have a quick conversation, and I want to come up with 1 or 2 elements, 2 or 3 things that you can clearly say, we got to get this done, and this is what done looks like. By the way, done looks like, what I don't want is, we got to put on 4 events, and done is putting 4 events on. Who cares, right? So let's be measurable, but let's be meaningful as well. Ready, set, go.